Accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Dragon King Mark here, and welcome back. Barely were able to get him out of there in time, but we managed to do it. And we managed to get out of Prosperity Tower with him. It took us a while, but we actually did it. Now, we're on a train, heading to Hayoi, basically prepared to get him out. And to, well, not get him out, we're basically to get the information we need from him. So, let's not waste any time. Also, if you're surprised why I'm streaming, even though I said on my status I probably wasn't going to stream, my folks went out, so I got the house to myself. The team wrestles Raymond onto a subway car, quietly taking up defensive positions and scoping out the platform for signs of pursuit. The old man is unsteady on his feet, but he insists on standing under his own power. You guys are railing and holds on with white knuckles as the train lurches forward. A group of tourists sit nearby, conspicuously avoiding eye contact with any of you. The crew looks over the old man with the bandage on the back of his head, exchanging meaningful expressions. Raymond squints at the odd group surrounding him, but his nod indicates that he understands he's among friends. Wu drags his goggles off his head, bending his knees to get a better look at his foster father. A tangled knot of relief, compassion, resentment, and hurt churns across the younger man's face as he wrestles with his confused emotions. I had a bad feeling it was going to be this way with the internet. It's kind of cloudy right now. The last few times I did try to stream where it's nice and sunny, so... Fear for his father's health overcomes them. Raymond, are you alright, little man? I fought against the reprogramming. The old man's voice is little more than a soft croak. His eyes are sunken and surrounded by dark circles. His mother's medical technology must be amazing. It's hard to believe he's walking under his own power so soon after the surgery. Yeah, well, Grandma's an amazing woman. Her high-tech brain surgery, her ownership of the cops, her execution of my partner and those runners. Wu's face hardens and stands up straight, glaring down at the older man. Oh, and the way she had the plastic-faced man snatching up our own son. Easy, Duncan. Don't easy Duncan me, Shen. That was Carter's thing. Find something else to say when you think I'm on the edge. Hey viewer, how's the stream coming in? I apologize for the internet quality. Pain and bitterness drip from Wu's deep, raspy voice. This man, whoever he is, has a lot of explaining to do. Are you ready to start telling us the truth, Edward? The old man tilts his head up to the orc towering above him, and although exhausted, his jaw sets firm. Yes, Duncan. I'm ready to tell you everything. I had planned to explain it all when you arrived at Hong Kong. We're here now, Ray. You are here, and I am grateful for all you have done for me, all that you needed to do. It's more than just exhaustion. Words are challenging for him to speak. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. He seems to swoon for a moment, but then he inhales deeply, swallows hard, and pulls himself erect. My name is Edward Tsang. I'm the only son of Josephine Tsang, the CEO of Tsang Mechanical Services, heir to the company. Before I left Hong Kong, I was the vice president of special projects, the up-and-coming star of the company. Was prosperity one of your special projects? Something you've never seen before washes over the tired old man's face. Shame. You've heard of it, prosperity. I see. Raymond takes a breath and the labored croak in his voice drops to a monotone. I was part of a project my mother envisioned to rebuild Kowloon Walled City, a walking neighborhood for underprivileged citizens, fully integrated with job training programs, co-op childcare, drug counseling centers. It was a new approach to low-income housing in the East, the springboard to prosperity for hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the place I grew up in. Raymond is 20 years away, but doesn't seem to hear her. Mother personally oversaw every aspect of the project to ensure that every detail was executed properly. Chose each project manager herself, chaired regular status meetings with architects, builders, visited the worksite for surprise inspections. She was driven to make her renewed, revitalized Walt City a success. So that was Prosperity, another low-income housing project? No, the Walt City wasn't the Prosperity project. Raymond covers his eyes with a liver-spotted hand, the dread radiating from him like the stink of a decayed meat. Prosperity was something I built at the center of the Walt City. Then his hand drops and his eyes roll back into his head and his face goes slack. A moment later, an invisible grip takes hold of your chest, constricts it, squeezing the air from your lungs. Your vision grays when the edges and the world surges backward, leaving you suspended in the distance on the periphery of reality. Something is hurtling towards you, approaching from the fringe of your mind like a bullet train. It screams ahead, closer and closer, until it is upon you, overwhelming you with its presence. And then, nothing. Silence. A dull scream pierces your consciousness, pulls you screaming to its source. You're back in the Walled City, the city of darkness. Cutscene! It's her. Your mind wrenches, inverts, and then violently jerks back into your skull. Your stomach cramps hard and the taste of bile bumps your throat. A thin trickle of cold sweat slides down the small of your back and your eyes refuse to focus. Your crew fares no better. Gobbet pulls herself from the floor, Madison follows squeaking wordly into the folds of her clothing. Isabel grips a railing, her back to the group, retching silently. Ractor leans against Koshé, his ashen face staring at the ceiling. He blinks rapidly, processing. Gaichu stands perfectly still in the center of the car, hands at his sides, his face impassive. Of all of us, Gaichu's the only one here who's not affected. Wu breathes deeply, his hands on his knees. That wasn't a dream. He shakes his head like a lion's mane and spits on the floor. That was something else. Gobbet's breathing is shallow. She's covered in a thin sheet of sweat. It was a vision. I saw some sort of machine inside the Walled City. Isabel turns, squinting in concentration. Her lips are white. It was churning something. It felt wrong. Impossible. I think it was ripping... I don't know. Reality. The orc girl shudders. It was ripping a hole in reality. Something is here, my friends. Something has arrived. I believe we have just fallen in over our heads. Wu straightens up, drawing the back of a wrist across his mouth. What the hell was that, Raymond? No answer. Wu spins to find Raymond cowering, his head in his hands, shuddering and weeping. She's here. Breathe, Raymond, breathe. Shouldn't have waited. Shouldn't have hid. He looks up at you with bloodshot eyes. She's here. The queen with 1,000 teeth. Raymond rocks in place, hugging himself, staring past you at someone only he can see. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. Uh-oh. Looks like Raymond's gone bye-bye. Shh! Gobbet! Isabel whispers her admonishment. Take it easy, Raymond. You're with me, Shen. The old man looks at you as if he's seeing you for the first time. Shen, you came. Raymond blinks, his eyes open. His voice is weak, hesitant, disconnected somehow. Are we in the subway? The right corner of his mouth twitches noticeably. Why is he stuttering? He's not. I used to stutter, and this doesn't sound like a stutter to me. Something else is going on. Could be the visions, could be the aborted brain surgery, or some combination of the two. Something bad is happening. began a long time ago, and I'm responsible. His eyes opened wide. The Queen. Prosperity. The Queen of 1,000 Teeth. These dreams, visions, they've been coming to you for a long time, haven't they? Yes, oh yes. I've been plagued by the nightmares for a long time. Raymond's lips start to tremble. They began years ago, sporadically at first, vague dreams wrapped tight with guilt, with shame. Raymond's eyes roll back in his head as he closes them tight. Until this last year when he searches for the word. The frequency began to increase. Then the imagery clarified, started to repeat. Teeth. Thousands and thousands of teeth. He sways for a moment, dizzy, and the sounds of suffering began to drown out even my waking thoughts. That's when I knew I had to come back. The truth, Raymond. To do what, actually? To correct the mistake I made long ago. He puts a hand out and steadies himself on Wu's arm. My fault. Prosperity. All of those people. Those poor people. The Prosperity Project? Shame eclipses the old man's face. You know about prosperity? Yeah, sort of. Wu's tone gets a little sharper. We already covered this, Raymond. We know that it's in the center of the walled city and that Edward Tsang built it. Why don't you start at the beginning, Raymond? Tell us what all this is about. The beginning. Sometime in the 20s, my mother was awarded she searches for the word. The contract! The contract to rebuild the housing development. The walled city. Well, from the results, I'd say your mom kinda blew it. Prosperity failed. Frustration appears in the old man's tired eyes. I told you! The walled city wasn't the Prosperity Project. Prosperity was the fortune engine I built at the center of the walled city. My special project. Fortune engine? What are you talking about? Wu sneers. You can't create fortune, Raymond. You kinda can, gun show. Some practitioners of the Feng Shui believe they can do it. Ever heard of the Bagua of the 8 aspirations? Wu looks at Gobbet flatly. No, Gobbet, I must have skipped school that day. Keep going, Gobbet, I want to hear this. Gobbet wrinkles her nose at Wu. It's Neo-Feng Shui. The masters of the craft can map the flow of Qi and how it corresponds to different aspects of someone's life. Fame, relationships, creativity, inner knowledge, health, and fortune. That's 6. I thought you said there were 8 aspects. The little orc shrugs. I don't remember the other 2, but one of them was definitely fortune. She looked sidelong at Raymond. So what does your fortune engine do? The fortune engine was designed to improve the balance of Qi in a negative Qi environment. A negative Qi environment? Somewhere shitty, like a slum. Raymond corrects her. Like a low-income housing project. I believe that with the fortune engine, the rebuilt walled city might never become a slum. He drifts off for a moment, remembering that he squeezes his eyes shut and lowers his head. But the machine malfunctioned. Malfunctioned how? The mechanism I created to circulate the negative Qi in the walled city. He brings the liver-spotted hand to his mouth. It got stuck. Stuck on what? Raymond rises slowly, pulling himself from his crumpled heap. His tone turns instructive, the old Raymond, but this time his explanation is halting and wary. Think of the fortune engine as a sort of propeller blade moving through astral space, circulating Qi, keeping it. He hunts for the word. Fresh. When Qi flows, when the rhythm is right, the results are positive, fortuitous. When I brought my design for the fortune engine to my mother, she embraced it. He exhales. She more than embraced it. She bankrolled it. Put an entire division of Tsang Mechanical under me to develop it. Sounds like a big bet. Raymond nods rapidly. The biggest of her career. Mother said that if the machine could bring fortune to the less fortunate. It would prove my theory. And if it could help the poor, imagine what a fortune engine could do for Josephine Tsang. Wu's jaw clenches. But that's not what happened, was it? Something went wrong. The people in the walled city didn't benefit from your fortune engine, did they, Raymond? The old man bows his head, doesn't answer. Dad, what happened to your fortune engine? Raymond's response is barely audible. It got stuck. The mechanism I created to circulate negative key in the walled city got stuck. You can see Wu's patience blowing away like autumn leaves in a high wind. He rubs his head viciously in frustration. Stuck on what, Raymond? The old man gets a confused look on his face. His lips move silently for several moments. Wu leans in close, drops to a whisper, seethes in his foster father's face. Stuck on what? Raymond winces at Wu's tone and stumbles back a step, but it does the job and the old man focuses. Something in astral space. I wasn't sure what. That sounds bad. The machine started pulling negative key. The old man's breathing begins to accelerate, and the walled city started to fill with it. Fortunes turned bad. I've been in places where the feng shui was really bad. That's not what I felt when I was in the walled city. No, key needs to flow. Eventually, the enormous pool of negative key became toxic. Fortunes turned from bad to worse. Much worse. Raymond's shoulders slump. Mother's vision for a rebuilt, revitalized walled city fell to ruin. It only took a few years for the trapped toxic key to turn a brand new housing development into a hellish slum. Why didn't you turn it off? I couldn't. Something happened. Part of the malfunction. We couldn't turn it off. Then why didn't you blow it up, wrap it in C4 and turn it into a scrap heap? Mother refused. Wu's tone turns icy cold. Why? I never found out. She wouldn't tell me. She would only say it wasn't worth spending the additional resources to figure out how to fix it, or even how to turn it off. Words start spilling out of the old man. She sealed off the maintenance room. Our engineers poured a sarcophagus of thick concrete around it so no one would ever find it, ever find out what we had done. Then she wrote the project off as a business loss and moved on like nothing had ever happened. Right? Yes. His face flushes and he fidgets with the gauze bandage on his head. After that, I left Hong Kong. Started a new life in Seattle. Found you, too. You should have stayed. You should have do something about it. Wu grimaces, disappointed. You were a coward, Raymond. Yes. Raymond stands up straight, takes a shaky step toward Wu. Yes, Duncan. I was a coward. And the guilt, the burden of my cowardice, grits me like a vice that never loosened. It's eaten me from the inside for 20 years. He licks his lips, tries to breathe, and then the nightmares began. Horrible. Still, I kept wondering, working on the problem, night and day. That's the work that kept you in your study until all hours of the morning. It took me years, even after you left, to make the connections, to find what to do. But I did it. I figured it out. And still the nightmares intensified until they became unbearable. I knew I had to come back, fix what I had done. That's why I contacted you, to help me see it through. Wu mumbles something, but all you can make out is the word coward. Wait, there's still a piece missing. What's causing the visions we're all having? Raymond's voice flattens. When the machine malfunctioned, when the circulator became stuck in astral space, it lodged in another domain. He sways and his lips begin to tremble, and something lived there. Not good. The old man begins to drift. After 20 years of constant force, the circulator finally began tearing astral space, creating a rupture in her domain. It begins rocking in place. And now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through. Yeah, she's pushing through all right. Who snarls at his foster father? The queen with 1,000 fucking teeth! A thing you brought in here, Raymond. Raymond stops his rocking, becomes fully lucid. He snaps back at Wu. I understand that, Mr. Wu. That's why I came back. I believe she is only partially here. She hasn't pushed all the way through yet. She's probing her new hunting ground. Must. The emotional strain of his snap at Wu rattles him again. I know what to do now. How to extract the circulator. Shut the machine down before she can fully manifest. Rocky? Just get me to the center of the walled city, to the fortune engine. I will do the rest. Please help me. Help them. You helped us overcome some hairy mistakes when we were kids, Ray. Now we get to help you fix yours. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go back in there. The little Decker's eyes open wide, more wider than Iris. Her breathing becomes faster, shallower. It's not just a thing in there, Sangshan. It's a Yama King. A demon goddess. We're trapped we can't run, and believe me, I want to. It's all that I've been thinking about. Thinking of. The rat shaman's shoulders rise with tension. But the APB is still out on us in those visions. I got a feeling they're not gonna stop unless we make them stop. And that fragile old man's the only way to do it. She looks down at her friend. Her voice is gentle. You gotta take him in there, Iz. You've gotta help him fix this. I, for one, wish to see this fortune engine. I'm intrigued. His Raptor's pale eyes glint. I willingly go. Gachu's face remains impassive, but his eyelids lower in anticipation. I have the opportunity to kill a god. I cannot allow the opportunity to pass unanswered. Wu's voice drips to a mumble. I hate this fucking country. I hate this life. Shen is right. We owe you, Raymond, and I'm not walking away from that. I'll help you fix your mess or die trying. Then we'll be even. He stares evenly at Raymond, his voice cold. I'm no coward. Oh, that just got intense. Fear grips the people streaming from inside the walled city. The storm isn't a typhoon, it's something else. Game saved. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here for today, honestly. With everything that just dropped and went down, we are definitely going to have to go ahead and talk to some people after this. This is going to be our last time talking with everybody. And given what's about to go down, I think we're going to be needing everything we can. I'm Dragon King Mark, and next time on Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong, we're going to go talk to everybody. We're going to go talk to the Triad Soldier, go to the Walled City, and end this. We got a god to stop. And hopefully we can at least stop Raymond. If we can at the very least do something about this, we might have a shot stopping all of this. I can't tell if that's blood or water. But... what the... okay, yeah, looking at this right now, we really gotta talk to some people. But I'll save that for next time. If you like what you all saw, leave a like, leave a comment down below, hit that like button, the bell icon, and subscribe to see when I stream. And I'll see you guys next time. Hope to see you all then. Laters. And I really hope that the stream actually processes and I don't have a black screen. I hope I don't have a black screen. Laters.